They say America is the land of opportunity. But in some cities, opportunity packed its bags and left years ago. Welcome to 10 dying American cities everyone is leaving fast, right here on Across the United States. Now this one's for the everyday Americans, the hardworking professionals, retirees chasing a peaceful life, and anyone tired of paying too much for too little. We're talking about places that once boomed with factories, families, and Friday night football pride, but now feel more like ghost towns with Wi-Fi. Across the country, millions are moving out, chasing safety, affordability, and better jobs, while some cities are stuck watching their for sale signs outnumber streetlights. The numbers don't lie. Population decline, job loss, and rising crime are rewriting the American map. But here's the catch. Not all these cities look bad on the surface. Some still have charm, great food, and even lower costs. But underneath, things aren't quite what the postcards promise. So, what's really driving people away? Is it politics, economics, or just plain survival instinct? Stay tuned because we're breaking it down city by city, and trust me, you'll be shocked by the one that lands at number 1. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which places to avoid if you value your sanity, safety, and savings. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and join the journey across the United States, where we uncover the good, the bad, and the downright unbelievable sides of American living. Because sometimes, the dream isn't dead, it just moved to a better zip code. Number 10. Birmingham, Alabama. You can almost hear the sigh of nostalgia in Birmingham, a city that once echoed with the clanging rhythm of steel mills and Southern ambition. Back in its prime, Birmingham was nicknamed the Magic City because it grew faster than almost any other city in the South. But that magic has dimmed over the years, and what's left behind feels more like a slow fade than a comeback. Today, Birmingham is struggling with a mix of real estate decline, high crime rates, and a shrinking job market that feels thinner than a gas station coffee at 2 a.m. The once busy downtown is sprinkled with boarded-up shops and for-sale signs, and while there are small pockets of revival, like the trendy Avondale district, it's not enough to offset the economic challenges facing most locals. The cost of living isn't outrageous compared to other U.S. cities, but the income opportunities just aren't keeping up. Many residents are working twice as hard to stay in the same place financially. Add to that the rising crime rate. Birmingham consistently ranks among the most dangerous cities in the U.S., and it's no surprise families and young professionals are quietly packing their bags for nearby cities like Nashville, Atlanta, or even Huntsville, which are booming in tech and innovation. And let's not forget infrastructure. Potholes have become a personality trait here, and some neighborhoods haven't seen serious investment in decades. Even longtime residents admit the city needs a complete makeover. Not just new paint, but a new plan. Still, there's that southern charm that refuses to die. The barbecue is mouthwatering, the people are kind, and you'll find a sense of community that's rare these days. But charm alone doesn't pay the bills. So the question stands, would you stay for the comfort of home and a plate of ribs? Or would you chase better opportunities where the future looks a little brighter? Number 9. Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland once stood tall as the pride of the Midwest, a booming industrial powerhouse, home to hardworking families, thriving factories, and that blue-collar spirit that defined America's heartland. But fast forward to today, and you'll find a city that's been hit hard by decades of economic decline, depopulation, and an image problem that's been tough to shake. Many locals even joke that Cleveland's unofficial motto should be, "At least we're not Detroit." That's not exactly the confident slogan you want for your hometown. The city's challenges run deep. Rising crime, aging infrastructure, and a steadily shrinking population have made Cleveland a tough place to call home for many. Once bustling neighborhoods now have empty storefronts and abandoned homes that remind everyone of better days. Sure, real estate here is surprisingly cheap. You can buy a decent house for what some people pay for a year's rent elsewhere, but cheap doesn't always mean cheerful. The issue is, affordable living doesn't count for much if the job market can't keep up. The loss of major manufacturing jobs left a vacuum that newer industries haven't fully filled. Young professionals are skipping town for better opportunities in places like Charlotte, Austin, or Columbus, while retirees are heading south in search of sunshine and lower taxes. Even lifelong Clevelanders admit that winters here can feel endless, cold, gray, and emotionally draining. It's no wonder some say the weather alone is reason enough to move. Still, Cleveland isn't without its bright spots. The city has world-class hospitals, passionate sports fans, and a local pride that refuses to quit. But for many families, that's just not enough anymore. The cost of living crisis and lack of consistent growth have made it hard to see a future here. So, be honest, could you really handle those gray skies, long winters, and uncertain prospects? Or would you trade the snow shovels for sunnier horizons and a fresh start elsewhere? Number 8. Shreveport, Louisiana. Shreveport, Louisiana, a city that once sparkled with promise, oil money, and riverboat glamour, now feels like a place where time pressed pause and never hit play again. Decades ago, Shreveport was booming. The oil industry was thriving, the casinos brought in waves of tourists, and downtown buzzed with the kind of energy that made locals proud to call it home. But those days feel like a distant memory. Today, Shreveport looks more like one of those dying American towns where for sale signs outnumber open businesses. The once lively streets are quieter, the job market has thinned out, and the younger generation is packing their bags for bigger, brighter cities like Dallas, Houston, or even Baton Rouge. The decline of the oil industry hit hard, and when the jobs dried up, so did much of the city's vitality. The population has been shrinking for years, and it's not hard to see why. Crime has been a persistent issue, ranking among the most dangerous cities in the U.S. year after year. Combine that with underfunded schools, aging infrastructure, and limited economic opportunities, and Shreveport starts to feel less like home and more like a holding pattern. Even locals are starting to ask the tough question, is there still a reason to stay? Yet beneath the decay, there's still a spark of Southern soul. The people here are warm, the food is unforgettable, and the music scene still carries echoes of its bluesy, soulful roots. The cost of living remains low, a small silver lining for those holding on. But even with affordable housing, many say it's hard to enjoy when safety and stability are slipping away. So the dilemma stands. Do you stay for the memories, the comfort, and the community? Or do you take a chance somewhere new, where opportunity feels alive again? Shreveport's charm is real, but for many, it's no longer enough to outweigh the struggle of staying. Number 7. San Bernardino, California. San Bernardino, a city surrounded by stunning mountain views, kissed by endless California sunshine, and blessed with a location that should make it a dream spot to live. But don't let the scenery fool you. Behind the postcard view lies one of the most troubled and struggling cities in the entire United States. San Bernardino is living proof that sunshine can't fix everything. Once a proud hub of industry and transportation, the city has spent the past few decades battling crime, homelessness, and economic instability. It even made national headlines for filing bankruptcy back in 2012, a move that symbolized just how deep the financial cracks had grown. Fast forward to now, and while a few revitalization efforts have taken shape, they're barely enough to patch the problems that run deep in the city's core. San Bernardino consistently ranks among the highest crime rate cities in America, with violent crime and property crime keeping both residents and business owners on edge. Add to that a growing homelessness crisis, struggling schools, and a lack of steady job opportunities, and you've got a recipe that drives more people away than it attracts. Then there's the real estate dilemma. You'd think that with all the challenges, rent and home prices would be low. But this is California, where even declining cities come with a hefty price tag. Many residents joke that you're paying premium prices for potholes, boarded-up storefronts, and a front-row seat to economic frustration. Still, some locals hold on to hope. The proximity to Los Angeles and the natural beauty of the San Bernardino Mountains make it a city with potential, if it could just get out of its own way. So, if you've ever dreamed of California living, warm weather, mountain views, and palm trees swaying in the breeze, San Bernardino might sound tempting. But be warned, this is one California city that could wake you from that dream fast. Number 6. Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore is one of those cities that breaks your heart, because you can see the potential shining through the cracks. It's a place with rich history, legendary crab cakes, passionate sports fans, and neighborhoods filled with character. But these days, that same city charm is fighting an uphill battle against rising crime, struggling infrastructure, and a reputation that's scaring off both families and businesses. For decades, Baltimore was a proud industrial and shipping powerhouse, the kind of place where opportunity lived around every corner. But after years of economic shifts and population loss, the city has been stuck in a cycle of poverty and violence that seems almost impossible to escape. Crime rates here consistently rank among the highest in the country, and it's not just statistics, it's something residents feel every day. For many, safety has become the #1 reason to leave. And then there's the cost of living. On paper, it's cheaper than nearby Washington, D.C., but when you factor in property taxes, rising rent, and city services that don't always deliver, it's easy to see why people are packing up for safer, more affordable suburbs in Maryland and Pennsylvania. Infrastructure issues, from water main breaks to aging roads, only add to the frustration. Yet even amid all that, Baltimore refuses to lose its soul. Walk through Fells Point on a summer evening, and you'll still find live music, laughter, and the smell of Old Bay in the air. The sense of community is real, and the people who stay do so because they love their city. But love can only carry you so far when public safety and stability are on the line. So here's the question. Would you raise your family in a place where resilience runs deep, but danger runs deeper? Or would you trade Baltimore's grit and glory for the peace of mind that comes with safer streets and steadier ground? Thanks for staying with us. If you're finding this video interesting, do me a favor and tap that like and subscribe button. It's a free way to support the channel and it helps more people see this video. Now let's get back to number 5. Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi, the capital city that once stood as a proud symbol of Southern resilience, is now fighting to keep its head above water, quite literally. For years, Jackson has battled aging infrastructure, low job growth, and ongoing water system failures that have left residents boiling water just to make it safe to drink. It's a city with deep roots and a big heart, but the cracks in the system, both physical and economic, are starting to show. The water crisis alone has made national headlines. Repeated system breakdowns have left thousands without clean running water for days, sometimes weeks. Imagine living in a capital city where you can't reliably shower or cook. It's a hard reality that's driven many residents to neighboring areas like Madison or Ridgeland in search of basic stability. Add in crumbling roads, potholes that feel like craters, and a lack of long-term infrastructure investment, and Jackson feels like a city stuck in survival mode. Then there's the economy. Once a hub for education and state government jobs, Jackson's job market has stalled. Businesses are hesitant to invest, young professionals are leaving for more dynamic southern cities, and families are caught between loyalty to their hometown and the need for a better quality of life. Schools are underfunded and overcrowded, creating another layer of challenge for those raising children. And yet, the city still has soul. From its rich civil rights history to its vibrant gospel and blues culture, Jackson's identity runs deep. You can feel the pride in local communities and the determination of residents who refuse to give up on their city. They know Jackson deserves better, and they're fighting for that better future, one neighborhood at a time. Still, optimism has its limits. When essential services fail, even the most loyal residents start questioning their future. So, the real question is, can Jackson find a way to rebuild and rise again, or are we witnessing the slow fade of a once proud capital city that's simply been left behind? Number 4. Gary, Indiana. Once upon a time, Gary, Indiana was the beating heart of America's steel industry. A proud, hard-working city that helped build the nation and shaped the sound of Motown as the birthplace of the Jackson 5. But those glory days have long passed, and what remains today is a stark reminder of how quickly prosperity can vanish when industry fades. Gary has become one of the lowest population cities in the United States, losing nearly 60% of its residents since its peak in the 1960s. Walk through some neighborhoods, and you'll see more boarded-up houses than lived-in ones. Entire blocks feel frozen in time, dotted with the shells of old factories and the remnants of once bustling streets. The economic picture is bleak. Job opportunities are scarce, and many residents commute long distances to find work outside city limits. The unemployment rate consistently sits above the national average, and while the cost of real estate is unbelievably low, you can find homes selling for under $20,000. Those bargains often come with crumbling foundations, safety concerns, and limited city services. Crime has also been a persistent challenge, discouraging new families and investors from moving in. Schools and public resources have suffered from the shrinking tax base, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Yet, amid the decline, there's a small but determined community that's fighting to rebuild, focused on local renewal and urban farming projects. Still, the big question remains, is cheap housing worth the trade-off? For most, the answer leans toward no. Gary's story is both tragic and cautionary, a once great American city struggling to find its footing after the factories went quiet. It's a tough call for anyone dreaming of relocation, especially when opportunity feels like a thing of the past. Number 3. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, the Motor City, the birthplace of Motown, and once the proud engine of America's industrial power. This city was the symbol of opportunity and innovation, but decades of economic decline, corruption, and population loss have left scars that still run deep. To its credit, Detroit has made real progress in the last decade. New businesses downtown, revitalized entertainment districts, and a push toward tech and green manufacturing. But those improvements only tell part of the story. Step beyond downtown, and the picture changes fast. Entire neighborhoods remain abandoned, with empty houses, overgrown lots, and a sense of uncertainty that lingers in the air. The city's population has dropped from over 1.8 million in the 1950s to under 650,000 today. A staggering decline that's left large sections of Detroit hollowed out. The crime rate remains among the highest in the nation, especially violent crime, making safety a serious concern for families and retirees alike. Then there's the cost of living crisis. While Detroit is cheaper than other big cities, inflation and stagnant wages have squeezed residents hard. Many people live paycheck to paycheck, and basic city services like public transportation and waste management still struggle to keep up. Still, there's no denying Detroit's spirit. Its residents are resilient, creative, and proud of their roots. The art scene is growing, small businesses are popping up, and downtown's energy feels hopeful. But for every story of revival, there's another of frustration and fear just a few blocks away. So, would you bet on Detroit's comeback? Some people already are, seeing opportunity in its grit and affordability. But for others, the gamble feels too risky. Because in Detroit, the road to recovery is still long, and not everyone can afford the ride. Number 2. St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is a city that, on paper, should be thriving. It's got affordable homes, rich history, stunning architecture, and a prime location along the Mississippi River. From the iconic Gateway Arch to its beloved baseball culture, this Midwestern city has so much to be proud of. But behind the postcard image lies a harsher truth. Crime, poverty, and population loss have steadily chipped away at what was once one of America's great cities. For years, St. Louis has ranked among the most dangerous cities in the United States. High rates of violent crime and property theft have made national headlines, and while certain neighborhoods remain beautiful and full of character, others struggle with blight and abandonment. Many families, tired of worrying about safety, have traded city life for the calmer suburbs of Chesterfield, O'Fallon, or have packed up and moved out of state altogether. The population decline has been consistent for decades, and the city's shrinking tax base makes it harder to maintain infrastructure, public services, and schools. Even real estate agents have adapted, focusing on relocation out services to help residents find safer, more stable communities elsewhere. Still, St. Louis isn't without charm. The cost of living is low, the food scene is fantastic, especially if you love toasted ravioli and barbecue, and the people have that trademark Midwestern friendliness. There are neighborhoods like Soulard and Central West End that still show the city's beauty and resilience. But the reality is that crime and instability overshadow all that potential. The balance between affordability and safety has tipped too far in the wrong direction. So if safety and peace of mind top your priority list, St. Louis might not make your best places to live map. At least not right now. Number 1. Chicago, Illinois. It's hard to say it, but even the mighty Windy City is losing its grip. Chicago, once the proud heartbeat of the Midwest, known for its stunning skyline, deep dish pizza, and legendary sports teams, is now facing a wave of residents packing up and heading out. In recent years, the city has been bleeding population faster than it can attract newcomers, and it's not just a coincidence. High taxes, rising crime rates, political dysfunction, and a soaring cost of living have made life here increasingly difficult for ordinary residents. Families who once dreamed of raising their kids near Lake Michigan are now questioning whether it's worth it. Retirees are heading to Florida and Arizona for lower taxes and warmer weather, while young professionals are flocking to more affordable metros like Dallas, Austin, or Nashville, where the cost of rent doesn't make you break into a cold sweat. Even major companies, like Boeing and Caterpillar, have relocated their headquarters out of Illinois, signaling deeper economic issues beneath the city's glossy image. And while Chicago's downtown still shines with its breathtaking skyline, thriving nightlife, and cultural attractions, many neighborhoods just outside the core tell a different story. Violent crime remains a major concern, with residents in some areas feeling unsafe even in daylight. Add to that sky-high property taxes, constant political drama, and a growing homelessness problem, and it's easy to see why people are calling it quits. Still, there's no denying Chicago's charm: the energy, the food, the architecture, the grit. But when charm collides with chaos, even the most loyal Chicagoans start to wonder if the city's magic is worth the stress. So the question stands: would you stay for the deep dish pizza, or trade it all for peace of mind, safer streets, and a cheaper zip code? So there you have it. 10 cities in the US that are slowly fading as the cost of living, crime, and opportunity gaps push people to pack up and go. If you've lived in any of these places, what's your experience? Are the headlines fair, or are the numbers missing the full story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. And hey, hit that subscribe button, as I'll keep helping you find where to go. And maybe more importantly, where not to. Thanks for watching.